Hi, and welcome to the Human Side of Business podcast. I'm Ange McCabe, CEO and co-founder of Intuitive Performance. I'm a performance coach, HR professional, whole person leadership facilitator, and your host. The Human Side of Business podcast is fueled by the genuine curiosity to understand how personal characteristics and skills can be leveraged to drive individual and team performance, tangible outcomes, and ultimately organizational success within business. Each podcast is devoted to sharing knowledge, expanding our learning edges, and exploring the trends in corporate culture towards growing the emotional intelligence of organizations. I'm so glad you're here. Hi, and a warm welcome to episode number 46 of the Elevate Business podcast. Both myself, Ange McCabe, and Scott Russ are your hosts. We have the pleasure of introducing you to Barry Murchie, President and CEO of TruLeaf Sustainable Agriculture. Barry has experience working internationally for Mitsubishi in Japan before joining McCain Foods in Tokyo. Moving from there, he led operations in Argentina, Asia, Singapore, and the US. We're excited to hear about Barry's latest entrepreneurial venture using innovative vertical farming technology. Welcome, Barry.
Thank you very much for having me.
Our pleasure. So tell us a little bit about yourself, your company, and your journey.
Well, I grew up in the Hamilton area, Hamilton, Ontario, and I spent a lot of my career outside of Canada. After university, I sort of backpacked around the world for a while and ended up in Asia and had a tremendous career with McCain Foods over 25 years. And then more recently got involved with TruLeaf and GoodLeaf, which is Canada's first and largest commercial scale vertical farming operation, and so that's what we've really been focused on over the last 2 or 3 years.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I don't know if you or your team or your listeners know really what vertical farming is, but maybe I'll just take a quick shot at explaining that.
Yes.
So we grow leafy greens, baby greens, and microgreens. I think everybody's familiar with growing plants or things in sort of open field farming. And I think people are also familiar with greenhouses. But vertical farming is essentially growing without the aid of any natural light. So think of it almost like a plant factory. So we grow everything under LED lights, and we have the ability to control everything from seeding to harvest and packaging in a level that is unmatched in either greenhouses or open field farming. So we can effectively go from seed to package without the need of human hands touching the product. And you can also grow our product with less than 5% of the water of product grown in open field farming. No pesticides, no herbicides, no fungicides. The cycle time to grow our crops is somewhere between 50 and 60% faster. So you're getting much more highly concentrated use of the land in our footprint because we're going vertically. And so fundamentally, it's a better way to grow leafy greens. And then on top of that, for Canada at least, over 90% of the leafy greens are being imported from primarily Southern California and Arizona. And so it's for Canada, where we're not blessed with a climate that allows us to grow these types of things in an open air environment year round, this really sort of gets us to a place where we can have better control over our food sovereignty and food safety, grow local in a sustained way. It's really technology at its finest in the ag space.
Well, I appreciate you enlightening us a little bit around the kind of the vertical farming process, Barry. And, the word that came up for me was like efficiency. So it seems like there's a lot of efficiencies in the way that this technology has been able to help bring to the Canadian market around growing those leafy greens and keeping things here in Canada.
Like I said, it's fundamentally a better way to grow leafy greens. It's from a food safety perspective, from a quality. You can select the seeds that end up with a better crop. You're not selecting things for their durability. You're selecting it for visual, the nutrient density, the freshness, the visual appeal. So it's there's a lot of potential that we're beginning to leverage from this technology.
how did your role at McCain and the experience that you had there kind of play into now your role here at TruLeaf?
Interestingly, as I said just a couple of minutes ago, despite the fact of having been born and raised and studied in Canada, virtually all of my career was spent outside of Canada. And in Asia, based in Japan for many years, in Singapore, in Argentina, and working for a Canadian company. Always felt like I was carrying the flag for Canada and for the company, spreading the awareness of what it is that we did and the sort of the tremendous nature of the company. And so when I take a look at the experiences gained overseas, and I really see at this point in my career and the intersection point with an evolving technology like vertical farming, there's a patriotic component to what I'm doing and what our team is doing, because we see that this is a tremendous opportunity to bring this technology to Canada and to be pioneers in this technology. And in many cases, when you look at what McCain has done over the history of that company, they're the world's largest potato processing company, and they did that from a small village in New Brunswick. And so our ability to do the same and replicate and create something that's of global significance in vertical farming for Canada is a lot of that those common threads are what I carry with me as I step into this venture.
And it sounds like you're passionate, Barry, and there's a lot of purpose that is driving you, or I guess is a behind the scenes driver for you, or an internal motivator. So when it comes to the word performance, what is it specifically that word means to you, and how has it impacted or played into your career?
So specific to our current company in what we're doing, a lot of it, because it's new technology and we're pioneering, performance in many aspects takes on a bit of a different feel from a more mature company. Because in many respects, we are proving that this technology can be commercialized and that this technology can become something that is it's fundamentally disruptive. It'll be disruptive to the existing supply chains of Southern California and Arizona, and so the performance doesn't necessarily, in a traditional sense of some of the key metrics. Right now, we're in an early stage of this journey, and a lot of it has to do with proving operationally the efficiency and the productivity and the performance. It's the horticulture agenda, and it's getting our yields and getting the product quality and the shelf life and the sustainability, all of these things, and then bringing it to market, and then being able to demonstrate to our customers that this is fundamentally better product. It's like if you contrast it to organics, for example, we view ourselves as better than organic because organics themselves are still vulnerable to bird droppings, into animals, into runoff from adjacent operations. And so in many respects, we're able to go to the market and show them we're doing things fundamentally different but better. And so at this early stage, in many cases, performance metrics aren't necessarily the traditional things. Obviously, we're doing those things as well, like the financials and whatnot. But where you see the charge and you see the energy in the team, it's their sense that they are contributing to validating that this technology works and showing Canada and showing our customers and soon the world that we've really figured out something novel here.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And so, Barry, I think a lot of our listeners or audience members, are in that middle, that early stage, as you've kind of described here. And so I'm curious, what are maybe some of the learnings that you've had kind of looking back in that early stage period that you might be able to share within your role as CEO or building your team?
Yeah, well, I to be honest, I don't sort of view myself as out of that early stage. I think that we're still right in the thick of the early stage. But I would say there's a number of things. I think the energy within the team of wanting to prove that the objectives and the sort of the mission of the company can be achieved. that energy and harnessing it into the right objectives is a very fundamental part of what it is we're doing, because there's a list of the list of things to do constantly exceeds the resources that we have to do it. And so being selective in determining what it is that we need to focus on is extremely important for us. And so making sure that our team are focused on the right things, and then as we are be able to achieve those objectives and those goals and those milestones, it just brings incremental energy into the team, into the individuals, and creates the momentum that we continue to build on.
Mm-hmm. And you talk about objectives, which tie into essentially your vision. Essentially, can you tell us a little bit more about your vision for your team at TruLeaf and True Farms?
So the vision really at this point is the farm that we have in Guelph, Ontario, which is Canada's first and largest vertical farm. But our vision now is really to create a network of these farms across Canada. So a lot of this has to do with the speed in which we're able to realize our objectives. And so we, before the snow flies this year, we'll have construction, one in Quebec and one finalizing the locations on which right now are designed for the upcoming farms have been identified and been finalized. So the objectives really is for us to build as quickly as possible on on what we've already proven to work, and to do that with a very keen focus on our customers and their needs, and to be able to tell the story of our products in vertical farming and the benefits of this to the consumer, in both in a retail and a food service environment. So again, it's sort of a race to scale at this point, and that's a big part of our objective.
And so when you're talking a little bit further about objectives, how does that reflect internally to your teams to ensure that there's alignment and achievement of those objectives?
Yeah, so I think not different than in any other company, communication is key. And again, clarity of what the objectives are, and again, not being distracted by the many, and our ability to focus on the critical few. And so ensuring that we are conveying those messages across every person in our company on a regular basis is critically important. And that's achieved in various ways. So we have weekly stand-up meetings, we have weekly management meetings. Anytime that I'm at the farm, I'm there early in the morning for the beginning of the shift, so that I can sort of carry the updates directly to our hourly employees, and I can field their questions, and to make sure that anything that's on their mind, that they've got access to explore those questions. And I think all of that contributes to a sense of transparency and clarity on what it is that we're focused on.
And so what I'm hearing from that, Barry, is really being able to create that space and that communication amongst the organization as a whole, and maybe in this situation more specifically with you, to be able to give employees a voice and provide them transparent communication so that everybody feels heard. And so in terms of kind of, you mentioned, we're scaling up right now. What are some of the challenges you've seen in terms of scaling your team or internally looking to build?
That's a good question. I think it's a bit of a cliche, but you're always looking for people that are smarter than you and better than you, and so those are some of the sort of the foundational attributes that we seek. But there's another sort of intangible, which is what's the core motivation of this person from in their interest in sort of seeking a job. And one of the things that we've noticed that's sort of I think an additional layer of strength for us as a company is that we're not making widgets. The people that tend to be interested in coming to work with us are the people that are concerned about the environment, people that are concerned about sustainability, people that in many cases, they have a certain diet that our products align with. So the people that come to us are often coming with already a sort of a passion for what it is that we're doing, and their ability to join a company that is very much in alignment with their lifestyle, their ethics. That adds a critical layer of, I would say, additional buy-in to what the company message is or the company mission. And so when we talk to prospective employees, that's a really important part. And I think one other interesting piece as we sort of look at the people that we bring into the company is we've spent a lot of time on diversity and inclusion. And we find that, again, the people that are attracted to our business are people that are coming with strong convictions. And we have taken a lot of time in creating a diversity and inclusion council for, and again, we're a young company, but we thought that was really quite important to give everybody in the company an opportunity to shape the culture. And we take it very seriously from the perspective of we want to create an environment where everybody can show up as their authentic self each and every day. And I think it's a powerful portion of our culture because I think it contributes to people's sense of being a part of the team. And it's a big part of our recruiting strategy.
And hearing that, there's a lot of great, or I would say golden nuggets in there, Barry, in the sense that you're talking about something deeper than just a job. There's, again, the word purpose is coming up, or I guess is highlighted for me. There's intent or intentional relationships that are taking place internally within your organization. And then also looking at the motivators of your team members, even before they come through the doors of TruLeaf or TruFarms, to ensure that there's fit, which is so important. So in thinking about all of these, I guess, characteristics or needs for your team members, how do you ensure that you continuously create that environment for your team members to thrive?
When you say that environment, just what just be very specific when you say that environment, the environment I just described to me?
Yeah. So you kind of gave us some insight or preliminary insight to the environment or the culture at TruLeaf. So we're just curious to further understand, how do you continue that, or how do you ensure that your team members are set up for success in understanding what type of environment that you have at TruLeaf?
Again, I think it goes back to transparency and authenticity. So, there are no hidden agendas. There's really no politics. We strive so that there's no politics. And so it's that transparency and access to information and to what's going on in the company. There's not a lot of layers. And so the ability to have straight talk with everybody in the organization all of the time, I think it resonates with our people. And when they already come in the door with this sense of alignment to our mission and the products and what it is that we're doing in the world, it's a rare combination of features. And so quite often it's people are going to work for a paycheck, but in I think the majority of the cases of our people, they could go find another job elsewhere, but it won't bring the same sense of purpose that we have, and I think for that reason, it's that sense of what we're doing is really pioneering. I think that permeates everybody in our organization, and it's not so much a top-down effort of constantly thinking, how do we sustain this? It's just part of our DNA. And our own people perpetuate that amongst each other. So it's something we have to focus on, but it's a collective effort.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
And so what I'm hearing there, Barry, there seems to be kind of a theme around the purpose of the company, and the things that you guys are working on really attract the type of people that kind of fit your culture and that fit within the organization. So it's more like that external lens as to how people are seeing the work that you're doing helps then kind of recruit and helps attract the type of people that want to come in and work for you and be part of this mission in terms of being able to have an impact.
And part of it is it can become very tangible. So when we have people that come and visit our farm, we seed and we harvest our products every day. And so when you can, eat what it is that you're making, and when you can see the quality and the freshness and the focus on food safety, and how we're setting the bar higher really than anyone else in the industry, it gives people an immediate sense of what they're attached to, and that's a rare situation.
Definitely. And it sounds like there's a lot of systems in there for support. So it sounds like there's supports around, expectations and understanding purpose and aligning operations with your team members that have added supports there as well. We're shifting gears a little bit. What about performance? Can you talk to us as to what supports you have in place for performance for your team members to ensure that they're elevating within either the role or from a succession planning perspective at TruLeaf and TruFarms?
Yeah. So just one point of clarification. So it's TruLeaf and GoodLeaf is the
Oh, sorry.
TruLeaf is no, it's okay. TruLeaf is the holding company or sort of the parent company, and GoodLeaf is the name of our farm and the brand that we sell under.
Okay.
So again, back to the point on performance. It's we spend a lot of time, and I also, again, want to be very, very clear. A lot of the things that I'm saying that we are, in fact, achieving, there's a lot of these things that we're early on in the journey. So I don't want to paint the picture that, we're sort of at the drop the mic moment and spike the ball and everything's done. We are in building mode. And so, there's a lot to be done, and there's a lot of things to improve. But the things that we strive towards is, again, we're building the team rapidly. We're bringing on a lot of new people. And so it's about assessing the capabilities of those people, but also the cultural fit. And you can bring in a superstar, but if they don't fit with the rest of the team, you're inviting friction, or you're inviting some level of misalignment. So it's and we do a lot of promoting from within, and so our ability to offer the people, some of our hourly people, an opportunity to grow their career, and the opportunity to do and be involved and exposed to different jobs. There's a lot of importance that's placed on that. So it's providing people career opportunities. As we bring on new people, it's making sure that we pay close attention to the culture that we want to preserve, and the chemistry amongst our people, and all of that again contributes to performance and opportunity for our people internally.
It seems like you're bringing a lot of experience to the table, Barry, when you talk about some of these things. And I can imagine the years of work that you did with McCain, working with teams and everything else, has really lent itself well to the work that you're doing at TruLeaf and GoodLeaf Farms. And so I guess in coming to a close here, we always like to ask our guests, what are 3 words of inspiration that you might want the world to hear?
One I would say is curiosity. I think every person that comes into our organization, we really want them to be curious about what's possible and how are things done and why are they being done. So I'd say curiosity is one. I think audacious would be another, which is thinking large and thinking what are the possibilities that perhaps aren't apparent on the surface. And then I would say sort of the third one is trust. And I find that teams and companies and individuals can often achieve much more than perhaps they thought possible if they feel that they're operating in an environment of support and that comes from trust. And it's trust in what the company's doing. It's trust in what their colleagues are doing. It's trust that there's the support there. And when there's that sense of trust, I think people find sort of a discretionary effort that goes sort of above and beyond the sort of what the day-to-day requirements of a job may be. And I think that you simply get more out of an organization where there's a high level of trust.
Those are all wonderful insights, Barry. We really appreciate you joining us today and sharing your leadership insights with Intuitive Performance and our subscribers.
Thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure.
And for those who would like to learn more about TruLeaf, we're going to provide a link to the company's profile on the Elevate Business Podcast title page. Take good care. Thanks for listening to the Human Side of Business podcast. I'm glad you could join us. If you enjoyed today's episode and want to stay updated with our latest content, make sure to visit our website. The link can be found in the episode description, where you can subscribe to the podcast, sign up for our newsletter, and learn more about our whole person leadership services. Sounds interesting? Explore the Whole Person Leadership Cohort by Intuitive Performance, a unique program that offers unparalleled support to managers on every step of their leadership journey. Our program features evidence-based assessments, workbooks, group coaching, and interactive learning experiences to help you level up your leadership skills. Reach out today to apply to one of our upcoming cohorts. Until next time, take care and stay curious.